Imagine a time when work was about pure survival. I'm talking way back to our hunter gatherer ancestors. Back then, performance meant the difference between bringing home dinner or going hungry. If someone didn't contribute to the hunt or gathering, it wasn't just a bad performance review. They risked the whole tribe's survival. That was the first form of performance management: immediate, brutal, and vital. Fast forward thousands of years to the Industrial Revolution, where performance management took on a new form. Factories were sprouting up across the globe, especially in places like Manchester, England, and the northeastern United States. With these factories came a need to measure productivity. How many widgets could a worker produce in an hour? The stopwatch became a manager's best friend. In fact, Frederick Winslow Taylor, often called the father of scientific management, used time and motion studies to optimize worker efficiency. His methods led to significant productivity gains, but also reduced human workers to mere cogs in a giant industrial machine. It was effective, yes, but also dehumanizing. By the mid 20th century, the world was changing again. The shift from industrial economies to knowledge economies meant that simply counting widgets wasn't enough. Companies needed creativity, innovation, and human capital, the kind of things you can't measure with a stopwatch. Enter General Electric, GE, in the 1960s, one of the first companies to formalize a structured performance management system. GE recognized that if they wanted to grow, they needed a way to measure not just what employees were doing, but how they were contributing to the company's strategic goals. This was the beginning of modern performance management systems designed to align individual performance with organizational objectives. But these early systems had their flaws. They were rigid, bureaucratic, and let's face it, uninspiring. Take the example of Ford Motor Company in the 1970s, which relied heavily on annual reviews to determine raises and promotions. The process was so dreaded by employees that it became known as rank and yank, where the bottom performers were systematically weeded out. It was efficient, but it didn't exactly foster a culture of trust or development. Then came the 1980s and 90s, and with them, a new wave of thinking. Companies like IBM began to realize that performance management shouldn't just be about looking backward. They introduced the concept of ongoing feedback, moving away from the annual review to more regular check-ins. IBM's management started to focus on developing employees' strengths rather than just punishing their weaknesses. This was a radical shift, and it set the stage for the performance management revolution. The 2000s brought even more change. The rise of technology meant that performance management could now be data-driven. Companies like Adobe were among the first to ditch the annual review altogether. In 2012, Adobe introduced a system of continuous feedback called Check-in. It was revolutionary. Instead of one stressful annual review, managers and employees had regular informal conversations about performance throughout the year. This approach not only improved employee satisfaction, but also reduced turnover rates. Adobe's success with this system led other companies, including Deloitte and Accenture, to follow suit. And then came the age of big data and artificial intelligence. Today, companies like Google use AI to take performance management to new heights. Google's Project Oxygen, launched in 2008, analyzed performance data to identify what makes a great manager. They found that the best managers weren't necessarily the smartest or the most productive. They were the ones who listened, provided regular feedback, and helped their team succeed. This insight has since been used to train Google's managers, contributing to its status as one of the best places to work in the world. In parallel, companies like IBM have been pioneers in using AI to predict performance trends. Their AI-driven tools can analyze vast amounts of data to identify who might be at risk of burnout, who is due for a promotion, or who might need additional support. These insights allow managers to take proactive steps to improve performance before problems arise. IBM's Watson AI can even suggest personalized development plans for employees, tailored to their unique strengths and career goals. But the shift wasn't just about technology. It was about a fundamental change in how we view work. Companies began to understand that their greatest asset wasn't their machines or their products, it was their people. And if they wanted their people to perform at their best, they needed a system that supported them, not just judged them. Take Microsoft, for example. In the early 2010s, Microsoft moved away from their rigid stack ranking system, which pitted employees against each other, and adopted a more collaborative performance management approach. Their new system focused on continuous development and growth, leading to a more engaged and innovative workforce. This shift was part of a broader cultural transformation at Microsoft, spearheaded by CEO Satya Nadella, which helped the company reclaim its position as a leader in the tech industry. So, where does that leave us today? We've gone from survival mode to stopwatch efficiency, from annual reviews to continuous feedback, from gut feel management to data driven decision making. Performance management has evolved from a survival tool to a strategic lever, helping organizations unlock the full potential of their people. And why? Because in today's world, success isn't just about what you do, it's about how you do it and how you can do it better. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to HR and Beyond and hit the bell for updates.